My name's Davy Crockett. Folks say I was born with a breeze in my fur and adventure in my heart. That might be true. I've always felt like the forest was calling me. On this warm morning, with birds singing and the sun just rising, I packed my bag, picked up my rifle, and stepped into the wild. I didn't know what I'd find, but I knew it was time to find it. The river was quiet, like it was still waking up. I paddled slow, letting the mist brush my cheeks. A heron flew overhead and frogs hopped from the bank. I didn't need a map, I just followed the current, trusting it knew where I belonged. That's how it is in the wild. Sometimes you follow, sometimes you lead. Filmmakers, I made camp by a circle of rocks, lit a fire and listened. The forest speaks in its own way. Crackles, rustles, chirps. I roasted a few berries, warmed my paws, and stared into the flames. I thought about the stories folks told, of bears, floods, and brave raccoons who stood tall when it mattered. I wondered what kind of story I'd end up in. Southeastern, I found a clearing and decided it was time to build. A place of my own. I hauled logs, stacked branches, and hammered with my paws until sweat dripped into my eyes. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. A fort to rest, to think, to watch the stars. I'd built something from nothing, and that meant something. But the forest isn't always friendly. One night, clouds rolled in fast, and the wind howled like wolves. Rain slammed the leaves, and I barely held the roof steady. My coat was soaked, and the mud pulled at my feet. But I didn't run. I held that beam tight, teeth gritted, heart pounding. That night I learned. Strength isn't muscles. It's staying when everything says run. Demolished, I heard a cry near the river. A fawn was stuck in the mud, legs trembling, eyes wide. I didn't think, I just jumped in. The water was cold and the ground sucked at my paws, but I grabbed her gently, lifted her clear, and whispered, "You're safe now." She looked at me, then disappeared into the trees. No thanks needed. That's just what we do out here. I followed tracks through the damp soil, tiny prints, deep ones, some I didn't even recognize. Each one told a story, a rabbit in a hurry, a fox looking for breakfast, maybe even a bear. I crouched, brushed the dirt, and smiled. The forest leaves clues, if you know how to see. That evening I met someone by the trail, a badger limping, coat dusty, eyes tired. He didn't ask for help, but I saw it in his face. I handed him a bowl of hot stew and sat down beside him. We didn't talk much, just ate, stared at the fire, and let the silence say everything. Out here, kindness is a language of its own. Then came the bear, big, still, watching me from across the stream. I froze. He didn't move. The water trickled between us. I didn't reach for my rifle, just stood tall. Respect matters in the wild. After a long moment, he blinked, snorted, and turned away. That was enough. We understood each other. You need to see from above. I spotted a pine so tall it scraped the clouds. I climbed slow, branch by branch, claws digging into bark. At the top, I saw the whole forest spread out. Rivers, hills, shadows, sunlight. It was quiet up there, and big. The ground shook. The river had risen, fast, too fast. I ran uphill, shouting, waving, "Move! Get higher!" Birds flew, squirrels scattered, deer bounded through the brush. I turned and saw the water coming like a stampede, but they heard me, they ran. After the storm, silence. I sat on a rock, pulled out my old wooden flute and played. Just a tune I knew from when I was a kid. It drifted through the trees, soft and slow. A few animals came close, listened, then lay down. Music heals what words can't. That's the truth. My fort had held, just barely, but I knew it was time. I packed my bag, slung it over my shoulder, and looked back one last time. That little shelter had been more than wood and rope. It had been a part of me. But you don't grow by standing still. You grow by moving forward. Finally, I reached the hilltop. The sky was wide open, the land endless. I stood there as the wind lifted my coat and whispered across my ears. And maybe, just maybe, It's only the beginning.